And here we are again, folks. Another wonderful edition of the Paranormal Portal. And once again, my name is Captain Don Longbeard because Brent's not here again. That's a wonderful thing sometimes. Hey, how is everybody? Glad to be here. Sorry about technical issues. We're still not going to have a call board tonight for some reason. There's just nothing. Do you have that on? Why am I hearing that? Oh, you're not. Yeah. Sorry there.
Ha!
Gracious. Hey,
Hi-oh.
so Paisley's here again. So anyhow, welcome. And as I said, again tonight, we're not going to be having the call board again. Just can't figure out what's going on with that silly thing. Anyhow, but wow, you type loud.
Sorry, I'm typing with
Wow.
emphasis.
Brent accuses me of doing the same thing.
Well, it goes with your loud voice.
That's true. I do have a loud voice. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, so wonderful day today. It only rained a couple times. It was a little cold, but yeah, dawn and technology do not mix. That is correct, Aussie Tiger. So interesting. Why do I keep saying that? I don't know. Anyhow, so let's do a quick shout out. Let's do TFR here. We've got Sophia the bot. She's always fun to talk with. She never answers me. TFR Wookiees here. Ellen Holman. I got Ken in there. Sphinx One Links. Gemini's there. Magic Micah. King Sweet. Free Energy 13. Jan for Peace. Let's see. It just moved again. Excited Self. Cowboy Chris and is that Meg Shamonte? I'm probably murdered that, but anyhow. My apologies if I did. And then over in YouTube, we've got Aussie Tiger. Jessica is there. Jess, hi Jess. Lewis is there. There's our friend MCAT. Music is Love. Let's see. OCG's there. Randall's there. Renee Harvey, Suzanne, and Miss Paisley Wilde. And I'm sure I missed somebody because that list is pretty darn long.
It's growing by the moment, too.
It is. Good. So excellent. So we've got people coming in. We've got people getting all comfy and pulling up a chair or their favorite set of headphones and kind of just hunkering down for the night. That's awesome. So how was your day, Paisley?
It was good. I cleaned the house, did the dishes, folded laundry, and I made runes.
Runes? You made runes, huh?
I made runes, yep. I have an Etsy store.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned it before. And yeah, I sell custom runes. They look like finger bones. I should have brought some.
You should have.
I didn't even think about it. And but they look like finger bones. They are the Elder Futhark, but they're not actually bones. They're made out of clay, so no fingers were harmed in the manufacture.
Gollum style.
Yeah, the Gollum style. Precious. And I also make rune bags, and also I'll be having altar cloths, tarot mats, and rune mats here in the coming
Weren't you
weeks.
talking to somebody about wrapping some stones for you, too?
Mm-hmm. So I have this friend. Her name is Marcy, and she wraps stones. And I'm wearing one right now. She gave it to me. This is a gift. This is a Brazilian opal that she hand wrapped. I suppose I get closer. See down the cleavage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little.
Oh.
Not at all. Cool. And it's just really cool. This is a pretty big stone that she just kind of gave me.
It's huge.
It's awesome. And I feel it all the time. I actually, it's almost a worry stone I carry when I carry it around. I can just, it's awesome. So I will be having more of her work actually on my Etsy store as well.
Oh, excellent.
So I've got the wrapped stones. She also does earrings, like these lovely orange sunstones that I have here. And she also makes wire wrapped ear cuffs, so they look like
She
elf
does like
ears.
elf ears. Yeah.
Yep. I'll be doing the Sandpoint Renaissance Fair, and I'll have a booth there.
Oh.
And yes, you're camping, because
Whatever.
I need security, and who's not afraid of the beard? And fear the beard.
Fear the beard.
That's a new shirt. Fear the beard.
Oh, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Anyways, so I'll be having all these products out there
Nice.
at the booth, and probably going to be doing a wand making class or
Oh.
session with Black
Ooh,
Tree.
nice.
She might not know that yet,
Uh,
but she will
I don't
shortly.
know. I haven't seen her pop in yet.
I haven't seen her either. I know she had some other stuff going on today.
Sure. Yeah, life happens.
But also, she and I are kind of starting this group. We call ourselves the Esoteric Elements here in North Idaho. And every fourth Sunday of the month, we meet at Starbucks in Ponderay for what we call hectic eclectics, basically because we're all busy. And anybody on any path, we just get together and kind of chat and hang out and have coffee.
Excellent.
Because why not? As at 3 p.m. If
3
you want.
p.m.
Yep, 3 p.m.
Huh. Interesting.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Cool.
It was really funny because last month we were sitting right next to a Bible study. And, yeah, it was a good time because it was like, wait, they're praying. Should we do something? Should we cast a circle?
That's funny.
Did anybody bring any smudge? So to get rid of that negative energy from next door. But no, they were lovely folks, and they didn't really give us the evil eye, and we didn't give them the evil eye, mostly because coexist, folks. It's not that hard.
Oh,
Respect
wow.
others.
There you go. Excellent.
We don't all walk the same path, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. And, you know, if we sit next to them tomorrow and they want to have a conversation, hey, I'm all for it, you know. Anytime that I have the opportunity to bring someone to the dark side and become a pagan, I am going to embrace that. So just waiting for Don to admit that he's actually following Norse mythology.
I am.
Yeah, it's the beard, man.
It's the beard, man.
It's the beard. Granted, you don't like mead, so you're not a very good.
Yeah. Well, if you mix it
Norse.
with enough elderberry wine, it's fine.
Yeah, actually, it's pretty good that way. And it's an awesome way to wind down after a birthday party with a bunch of little hooligans.
Unfortunately.
And
I
neener,
need
neener,
more.
neener.
Yeah. Whatever.
I make it, so I have it all the time.
Dawn is Odin.
Yeah, where's your patch?
Oh, I didn't bring it. I'm
No,
sorry.
you
I
didn't bring your
it.
patch.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah, you
forgot
could
it.
have been Odin, the one-eyed god. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now I just need 2 ravens.
I can see that. You wear the black.
She does sell them online. What is your Etsy store again?
It is.
Monarch
yeah,
Mountain.
Yeah, it's Monarch Mountain. MONARCHMTNSTUDIO.
Monarch Mountain.
Monarch Mountain
MTN.
Studios. Yep.
There you go.
So let's see. I will see if I can make Dawn put it in the show notes, and if not, well, by golly, I'll leave it as a comment so y'all can see it.
There you go. Yeah, leave it as a comment because Don's not too slick with this whole Facebook or YouTube tagging thing.
You mean technology?
Yeah, people accuse me of being kind of a.
I'm kind of impressed you haven't broken the board more.
I haven't touched the board.
I
Well, I
know.
have touched the board. I have to touch the board. Hey, did you guys see what she did? Well, for you guys on YouTube, do you see my microphone that she's using there?
Yeah.
You see that? She bedazzled my microphone.
Hey, you know what? I was looking at the video last night,
Yeah.
and wow, did I look ghostly?
Haha, too bad.
And seeing
Congratulations.
as how that isn't me, I kind of felt it necessary to, go ahead and embrace the orange, bring some color back to my life.
Custard.
Uh,
That's what the
my inner
ghost.
Cheeto, right?
That's what the ghost box said. It said custard.
Custard?
Yeah,
Well, it said it very, very quietly then.
it did because
It was a
it's-
ghostly
it's-
whisper.
It's hooked
It was
with
a
you.
whisper. It was like this.
Custard.
Chocolate.
Oh my.
Barbecue.
Oh, thanks, OCG. It's still early. He can still break something. Oh my gosh. Just call me a Luddite.
Luddite.
Oh my.
Could call you a troglodyte. Would that be better?
No.
Okay.
No, that would not be better. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, anyhow. So, yeah, once again, sorry about the call board, but it's just not going to work tonight. And, Lewis is just really wanting you to do some ASMR.
You know what? I could probably try to do something like that. I was reading it because I hadn't actually heard that, or the title of that particular genre of YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And, that wouldn't be too hard,
No, it wouldn't.
actually.
Would you like-
I was thinking about doing a chanting of some sort with the
Dawn
Eldar
doing-
Futhark.
Don doing ASMR.
You need a swizzle straw. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
General Custard's goat or ghost. Thanks, Keen Sweet.
Yep. Hungry ghost likes custard. You know, custard's awesome. I,
Okay.
as a kitchen witch, I cook all the time, and custard is one of those.
Yeah. Custard's-
Chocolate custard is pretty awesome.
Whatever.
I've made it, and you've eaten it. I've had it at some of the family get-togethers that I've had when you and Brent have been over.
I think I probably skipped it.
That's what the beard said, right? You had chocolate in your beard. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I can't
It
see my
is-
beard. It's a telltale.
It is very much a
It
telltale.
tells tall tale.
Except for you're not that tall. Anyways, so yes, frozen custard is awesome. You're right, Randall. It makes you put it in the little ice cream pops, little things, and I do those for my mini Paisley, and she loves it. So
No, Lewis, Blue Yetis are okay. We prefer Sure, and I like Behringer's. And no, Bigfoot and Jeremy, I still have not found that little black button yet. Hi, Deb.
hi, Deb. No, the little black button apparently is actually not black. It's camouflage.
Yes, apparently it's camouflage black and gray.
It's transparent. It's ghostly.
It's ghostly.
Chocolate covered beard with nuts. OCG. Oh my gosh. Yeah, extra on the nuts. Yes, he is very much
Oh,
weird.
thanks.
Yeah. Quite
I
nutty.
feel so loved.
Mhm.
So loved.
Hey, you broke the callboard, so
I didn't break the callboard. The callboard broke itself.
sure. Like the story. Mm-hmm.
That is good. Goodness, goodness, goodness. So, excellent. So,
What did you do today?
what did I do today?
Mhm.
I worked.
Oh, so you're grown up.
Yeah, I got these things called responsibilities.
Mm.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to do was get to the show and get it going and doing its thing because doggone it, that's what we enjoy doing. Yeah, I would have rather spent more time working on the podcast though, but it is what it is. Oh, comic duo.
But bum.
God love you. God love you. Anyhow, so it is just kind of another throw together adventure through the portal with, as I said, your Captain Don Longbeard with his plucky sidekick, which I don't agree. I don't think I'm the plucky sidekick.
So, am I the comic relief?
Apparently, that's what Lewis just said. The comic duo. Anyhow, she's a lovely gal, I promise. Anyhow, so. Plucky. That reminds me of the Firefly or the Serenity movie. You're not the plucky hero. Oh, well.
That wasn't Serenity.
Oh no, it was.
No.
Yeah, it was. It was the movie. Yeah,
No.
yeah,
no.
it was.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. Yes, it was Paisley. I'm not
No.
gonna argue with you anymore. Anyhow,
It was a different movie. It was very much a spoof, though. We were, I mean,
no, it's when the agent and Malk were fighting on Mr.
the
Universe's.
plucky sidekick.
the
Oh,
plucky-
gotcha.
You're not the plucky sidekick.
Gotcha.
Goodness.
I didn't catch the whole
Plucky,
accent.
What were you talking about?
Oh, the other movie, Galaxy Quest. Hello.
Okay.
Sad.
Oh goodness,
Sad.
goodness,
It's a good
goodness.
movie. It's hilarious.
Oh my.
Love the sci-fi.
Bigfoot, Michigan, Rob, how are you? Anyhow, so, well, today we didn't know, of course, I didn't know, of course, what I was going to talk about because we never do. That's what this is all about. Flying by the seat of the pants and floating on the sea of cheese. Who knows? Anyhow, but
Cheese?
so yeah, cheese, yeah. You'd have to listen to the same music I do.
No, thanks. I'll stick to the jazz.
Aussie says we need some paranormal stuff. So I pulled up some ghost stories as usual.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, let's see here. So this is what is this? 5 short ghost stories that will scare the life out of you. That's nice. It says The Puppy in the Basement. Um,
Oh, that's dark already.
Mommy told me never to go to the basement, but I wanted to see what was making that noise. It it kind of sounded like a puppy. I wanted to go see the puppy, so I opened the basement door and tiptoed down a bit. I didn't see a puppy, and then Mommy yanked me out of the basement and yelled at me. Mommy never yelled at me before, and it made me sad, and I cried. Um, then Mommy told me never to go into the basement again, and she gave me a cookie. This made me feel better. That is just stupid. So I didn't ask her why the boy in the basement was making noises like a puppy or why he had no hands or feet. Oh my. Okay. Whatever.
Okay, that was
That wasn't even worth it.
very bizarre.
Um, Nunchucks. When my daughter was 2, I found her twirling paper towel tubes tied with twine in the air. I asked her what she was doing, and she said she was practicing her nunchucks. I was very confused as she had no way of knowing what they were. I asked her what she meant, and she said that Adam had told her how to make them and showed her each night how to use them. She went on to say that Adam told her to practice because she may need to know how to defend herself someday. I almost freaked out, but I asked her what Adam looked like. She said he was tall, blonde, and had blue eyes. She said, "Mommy, you know how he looks. You know him. He died of a headache." I had to leave the room. You see, 4 months before she was born, my tall, blonde, blue-eyed my martial arts pro friend had died of a brain aneurysm at the age of 27. She had not spoke of him since that day, so I'm not sure if I scared her with my reaction or if she completed her lessons. Huh. So do you think that's possible? Now, it just says boyfriend. It doesn't say it's the girl's father. It just said it was her boyfriend. My tall blonde martial arts. Oh no, it doesn't even say boyfriend. It just says friend. So interesting. But do you think that a spirit would come back to do something like that, like train or teach the child something she may need, during her life at some
Oh,
point?
yeah, absolutely. Mostly probably because I'm pagan. I feel that the spirits of those who have passed before us do come back and help guide us and teach us. Even so, there are folks that are orphans or whatnot, and they may not have gotten the guidance or teaching from their immediate family, and so sometimes they need to do some past life regression or some meditation on their ancestors. And yes, you can learn from those who have passed before.
Hmm.
Yep.
That's an interesting thing. Duck Sauce on YouTube says, "What do you name a guy with no arms, no legs that lays at the bottom of the basement stairs?" He says, "The answer is Matt. I call him Unlucky."
I've got one.
Oh, go, yeah.
Hey,
go.
son, what's in that fancy beer mug on the mantle? And the son and I would go, well, that's your Uncle Frank. That's where he wanted his remains. It was his favorite beer stein. He always said it would be funny, but I never got why. And the son goes, maybe it's so he could be Frank in Stein.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Did you just tell a joke?
I told a dad joke. Isn't that awesome?
He's Frankenstein.
Frank in Stein.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my.
I thought it was hilarious.
This short tale starts benignly enough with a friendly seeming ghost playing with children. But when you learn the origins of the ghost and just why the ghost is moving the objects around the room, it quickly gets a lot creepier. When my sister Betsy and I were kids, our family lived for a while in a charming old farmhouse. We loved exploring its dusty corners and climbing the apple tree in the backyard. But our favorite thing was the ghost. We called her Mother because she seemed so kind and nurturing. Some mornings, Betsy and I would wake up and on each of our nightstands, we'd find a cup that hadn't been there the night before. Mother had left them there, worried that we'd get thirsty during the night. She just wanted to take care of us. Among the home's original furnishings was an antique wooden chair which we kept against the back wall of the living room. Whenever we were preoccupied watching TV or playing a game, Mother would inch that chair forward across the room toward us. Sometimes she'd manage to move it all the way to the center of the room. We always felt sad putting it back against the wall. Mother just wanted to be near us. Years later, long after we'd moved out, I found an old newspaper article about the farmhouse's original occupant, a widow. She'd murdered her 2 children by giving them cups of poisoned milk before bed. She then hung herself, and there was a photo of the farmhouse in the original post with a woman. Oh, and the article included a photo of the farmhouse living room with a woman's body hanging from a beam. Beneath her, knocked over, was that old wooden chair placed exactly in the center of the room.
That would freak me out slightly.
So, yeah, if you were sitting in your comfy house and in your front room or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
watching a movie, and all of a sudden a chair starts to move in and stops in the center of the room,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then you find that out. It's like, oh, she hung herself again. How quaint.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well. Wow. You know, sometimes I read these stories and I'm like, you know, sometimes it's like, is that real? Is that true? Did that actually happen? You know, and you really got to wonder, you know, people's imaginations anymore. You know, we watch movies and we see things, you know, in movies
Mhm.
and you know, we don't think about the fact that people really think this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and, you know, take, for instance, any of the Tom Harris Hannibal books, you know, the Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal. You know, think about those and the twisted stuff that happened in those books. But then also think about like the books Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. Because the original books were violent. Oh my goodness.
Well, the original movies were violent.
Well, the original movies were pretty violent too. You know, so it's like, you know, people actually think this stuff. So there's, you know, unfortunate but true. You know, some people follow through with whatever's going wrong in their heads, and it's disturbing.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever have a conversation with like Stephen King or Dean Koontz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, the things that they put on paper had to have come from their mind somewhere, and if that's what their imagination is like or their subconscious is like, man, that is some dark stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Brent. That's Brent in the chat there on YouTube. So tell him hi. He wants you and everybody to know that he loves you and he's sorry that he's not here because Don's just tearing it up tonight. You know, I have to reiterate, though, I don't think he knows I can't take calls, Randall. It's okay.
Actually, they tried.
Yeah,
when I got here, they were
yeah.
quite amusing to watch Don and Brent try to conference call in 2 different places.
Especially when you can't hear the other one.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Let's see, reincarnation, OGC. Yes, I believe yes. How can you tell if you are reincarnated? Yeah, I'd say that's oddly gifted. Now, sorry, derailing your
No,
entire.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So.
She just waves me off like
Yep,
you don't
pretty much.
matter anyhow.
So, there's some thought that if you have a birthmark, especially a very dominant birthmark, for instance, it is a mark or an indicator of how you were possibly killed in a previous life, and that's carried over onto your body in this life. So, but as far as how to tell otherwise, you could do past life regression with hypnotism or deep meditation, or ask Deb.
Oh, yeah.
Deb might be able to give you some direction better than I can, because I think she's more in tune with her guides than I am with mine. I think my primary guide is a kitchen witch also, so I can make you a good pot of chili. But yeah, I do believe that they're in reincarnation, absolutely. And how to tell? I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm still in training. I'm working on my priestesshood, so I think it'll be interesting. Elaborate, please. So, for instance,
Hold that thought. I'm gonna sidetrack you. Hold that thought because we only have like a minute and a half
yeah.
before we get
That's
a
true.
break, and that'll be kind of. I imagine that might be a little involved. So,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I do want to make sure to ask you a question about birthmarks, because people say it suggests on how you were killed. But what if you just died? Would you have a birthmark? Would it be like over the heart if you had like a heart attack, or, because a lot of the times we hear birthmarks are the sign of a violent death, whether that be like falling from a ladder and being impaled, or, somebody stabbing you or
Hmm.
shooting you, things like that. So, but what if it wasn't anything like that? What if it was just a natural happening, like a brain aneurysm or a heart attack or something like that? So just keep those thoughts in your head. Don't forget about the question that was asked. Oh, the elaborate on the birthmark.
Hmm. So kind of
Um,
the same direction you're going.
yeah, absolutely. So, maybe you could cover those on the way back. So, we are getting ready to go to our first break already. It's been a half an hour. It's been a charming time so far, and
How's
thank
it
you.
been? 30
How's-
minutes already?
It's already been 30 minutes. Time. This is the portal.
You're not supposed to sing.
That's not singing. Brent does that all the time, but he does it so much better. All right, we'll see. We'll see you after the break.
Okay.
That's because the mics aren't live. I'm not used to the timing because the reason we do the breaks on YouTube with the video is because TFR is playing a commercial. We can't play the commercial from TFR onto YouTube. So I'm not used to the timing yet. Brent's usually got things pretty tamped down. By the way, good night, Brent. We will see you when you get back. Have a safe trip. We will and get back to us nice and in one piece. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but
Bring the warm weather back. It's cold. Just saying.
Hey,
oh, hey,
hey.
look at that.
Gosh,
Yeah.
and that's
I'm
another
here.
thing. It's not my board. It's not my
Yeah.
board. It's haunted. Speaking of haunted, no, it's only said custard still. Anyhow, we were talking about birthmarks,
Yeah,
and
birthmarks.
OCG wanted you to elaborate.
Yeah. So Deb did post a couple things in chat for folks on YouTube regarding what may indicate a previous life. That would be like, let me see if I can find it again, because you guys are just talking. Pay attention to things you're attracted to. Like if you have a preference for clothes or jewelry from a certain era or time period. Or if you like, or from a different country even, music that speaks to you when it was most famous.
Right.
That may be something also. Deja vu. If you have some of your lucid dreaming can also indicate a previous life.
Yeah. I think it was Bigfoot in Germany said something about he was having lucid dreams about being a British soldier in World War II. So, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, and then just so you know, L. Ron Hubbard actually started.
Alan just said that.
He said it in YouTube too, but he actually started Scientology. So I think he's really great at sci-fi and leading people
right
in. I just don't understand the whole paradigm there. And but anyways, I don't know. I haven't read that particular book. I don't actually like L. Ron Hubbard.
He's not one that I got into. I actually have Dianetics at home, which is the book that it was based out of. For the most part, that's where the heavy-duty ideas came from. As a matter of fact, Robert in YouTube chat could probably tell me what the other writer's name, because apparently it was a contest between two writers. I'm sorry to take away from you.
No,
Go ahead.
let's hear it. Yeah, no, I don't know what the other one is either. I just L. Ron Hubbard is the big name that sticks out.
Yeah.
Probably because he won that bet.
Right. You think?
I personally believe the Flying Spaghetti Monster is more accurate than L.
Robert
Ron Hubbard.
Heinlein was the other one.
Yeah.
Robert Heinlein. Thank you, Robert.
So, just real quick, I Googled, just out of curiosity, other signs. So, recurring dreams that indicate time, place that is not current. Deja vu. Remembering past events that you weren't present for.
Kind of go into those.
Oh, you want me to read these? Okay.
Yeah,
so,
sure. Yeah. Give some background on it. Yeah.
Details. All right, so just it's 9 unbelievable signs that you've lived a past life. So recurring dreams. Basically, a lot of our dreams do have some sort of explanation to them. And if you're not keeping a dream journal, Germany, you probably ought to. Because some of the signs that you see in your dreams are going to be recurring and going to have some sort of meaning to your present life even. And it's going to be harder for you to identify what those things are if you're not keeping some sort of dream journal or tracking the things that you're seeing. So dream journal, very important. And if you have a hard time remembering your dreams, try waking up about 5 minutes before you actually have to get up and kind of meditate on what you were dreaming and think about it and let it sit in your mind and then write it down. Or if you've got an app on your phone, there's all sorts of apps that you can use on your phone to track your dreams. Yeah. Or if you just have voice to text or an audio recorder on your phone, you can just speak into it too. Although if you've just had a wild Saturday night and you are experiencing a coyote ugly morning, maybe the audio recording is not going to be such a good thing. So, those recurring dreams, though, can take many forms. And just be on the lookout for the ones that have some sort of historical period or faraway location that you've never experienced or read about in today's time. So deja vu. Everybody has some sort of deja vu generally. Now there's two different types of deja vu generally. One's the traditional where something just feels familiar, and then there's the other where you feel that you, excuse me, have actually lived in this particular moment or through this type of situation before. So that could be just your brain's misfiring because that happens, or it's because you've actually gone through a similar moment in a previous life. Remembering past lives that you weren't present for. If you are remembering something about your previous life and you're absolute on the specifics, and they've done a lot of studies now on children that have actually talk about their previous lives, and they've connected with people that they've encountered. They're like, oh, hey, I know you, and they have a conversation with someone they've never ever met, and they are touching on the same details, and they're totally connecting on a topic that the child should never have encountered or know anything about. Odds are pretty good that they knew each other when the child was experiencing a previous life. So incredible foresight. So if you're in tune with time more, both the past and the future, it's very possible that you can predict the future to some extent, mostly because you have experienced it in the past. So it could mean you have an old soul. It could mean that you're just really tapped into the collective unconscious, or the deities and guides are really speaking to you. So there's a couple different ways you can interpret that. But again, journaling, really a big key here on tracking those thoughts and those feelings and emotions that you're having. Irrational fears and phobias. So there is a school of thought that a phobia that you might have or a fear that you might have is actually due to it's a carryover, or maybe you died in that fashion or related to that in a previous life. So if you're completely afraid of heights, well, maybe you fell off of something and that's what killed you in a previous life. Or snakes, or water, or maybe you're afraid of the sky. There's agoraphobia. So maybe you're afraid of wide open spaces because you fell out of a plane or something.
Suck.
I mean, or fell off a bridge or something like that.
Right,
So
right.
there's all sorts of different things that we experience today as phobias that are not necessarily a fear of something contemporary. It's a fear of something you've experienced in the past. Yes, gunshots. If you have PTSD when it comes to gunshots, and you've never really been in a situation where you have been under fire, it's possible that you had a previous life where you were shot or were in a high stressful situation where there was a lot of gunfire. So, Alan, past life regression, it really needs to be done with someone who's very professional. And it sounds like that would be very, very disturbing. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of a scary one.
Because we don't really have a lot of control over what our previous lives experienced. And so if we're doing that past life regression, make sure you're with someone you really trust to guide you through it and to help you to remember that it's not happening now. Let's see, the next one, just to touch on real quick, is mystery pains. So, a lot of kids growing up, they have growing pains. Even as an adult, we often have random sudden pains in various places, partly because we're old, or getting older. I would say, if you keep having a persistent pain in your leg and you've had it checked out by the doctor, it's possible that you were hurt in some fashion in that part of your body. And that may be what caused a death in a previous life. So, Randall, I don't know about that one. The recurring dream of a miniature tiger on a leaf in a rainforest. Often dreaming in colors is very significant. Most people do dream in black and white. So I'd track that. I know that my most prominent reoccurring dream has changed as I've evolved on my path as being a pagan. And it's literally like I'm going into new rooms within the building and structure that I'm in my dream. And it's been really kind of interesting. And looking back now, when I first started having them 30 some odd years ago, I wish I had written them down. Although, knowing the way my life has been, I probably wouldn't still have those journals anyways. So I don't know. It's just it's something that when I have this recurring dream, I can generally tell I am in it. And if there is something new aspect to this particular dream, then I know that I've learned whatever I had to in the previous dream, and I'm moving forward. So, yeah, it's those are just six signs. There's the seventh is you recognize someone as a soulmate. So I've seen some people in social media groups that I follow talk about how they're with their loved one or their spouse, their significant other, but they have this other person that's really their soulmate, but they're just not good for them. They're toxic, and it could be because in a previous life they were the soulmate, but the two of you had to learn something different in this particular life. So even though you felt that close kinship or connection with that person as a soulmate, you're on a different path in this life, so you have to learn something different before you guys can reconnect in the next life. And it may be in this life you're both the same gender, so you're friends and experiencing a friendship. And in the next life you'll be opposite genders, or the relationship will be different, and you'll be partners instead of friends, or a combination. So I know two people who have been read by someone who is very talented as a reader, and I got to watch this one. It was kind of cool. And she told them both that they've known each other for a millennia, at least, and they keep going through different lives and different aspects. And in some previous lives, they were married, they've been friends, they've been enemies, they've been frenemies. So it varies, you know. Just because you had that very strong soul connection in a previous life might not be the same kind of connection that you have now. So your soulmate, maybe you're an old soul, and that could actually just be a reflection of the age of your soul. It may be more mature. So people have said that Minnie Paisley is an old soul just because she comes across as more mature and advanced for her age, and has just a deeper understanding, I think, or asks some of those deeper questions that someone who just turned 5 really shouldn't be asking yet. So it's been kind of weird answering those. The number 9 here is you might feel like you don't belong really in this time or place. And I think we've all experienced that just a little bit because we've all had to go through high school. Nobody wanted to be there, except for certain people that never left. So it may be that not that you're longing for that previous life, just that that's where you felt the most connection and the most immediate realness, I suppose. And I don't know if that means you really had a previous life or you just like the old stuff. I don't know.
Wow.
So yeah, that was just me going off on that. So back to birthmarks, OCG. Let's see. So just reincarnation researchers have discovered that some people who have died in a traumatic death in a past life might bear a scar of those injuries in the form of a birthmark. So a birthmark is defined as a benign irregularity on the skin which exists at birth. So there's a big long medical explanation, of course, because why not? But in the 60s, a Dr. Ian Stevenson, who is a psychiatrist from the University of Virginia, began studying children between the ages of 2 and 4 who remember their past lives. And in the hundreds of cases he documented, Dr. Stevenson was able to show a direct correlation between how a person died in a prior life and their birthmark now. So there's been quite a few studies showing that the way you died is leaves a permanent mark on your soul, and so when you're born into the next life, it actually comes out in your skin or in physically. So like Minnie Paisley, she's got a birthmark between her eyebrows, and she has one at the base of her skull. Now, looking at that could be really a bad birthmark from a previous life. I would just have to say that's probably a bad birthmark from a previous life. I don't know how else to put that. So, I have a small, almost non-existent birthmark on my leg. Um, I suppose if I was riding a horse and had been shot with a bow and arrow, that's probably where it would go in my leg, to be honest. So,
Sorry,
um,
I thought I was shot in the knee with an arrow.
ow, that would hurt. Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Ow.
Video game. Sorry.
A video game. And then family members with similar birthmarks. It could be you guys have been linked throughout multiple lives. It could be you the way of death in a previous life is very similar. For instance, look at the end of the Tsars in Russia. Those folks, the was it Nicholas?
The Romanovs.
The Romanovs, yes. Thank you. I'm not good with names. Sorry, guys. Random factoids and things that make zero sense, but names, dates, birthdays, anniversaries. Yeah,
That's why
there's no
Google
room.
Calendar.
Exactly. If it wasn't for Google Calendar and Facebook Calendar, I'm telling you, I wouldn't remember anything. They make me look awesome. So, like the Romanovs, for instance, the entire family is killed pretty much in the same way. And so if though that family is born again in the next life, in a similar family situation, I wouldn't be surprised if they have similar birthmarks. So I don't know as far as family members with similar birthmarks. I know with a lot of fantasy fiction and mythology and histories, there is some thought that a certain birthmark is a sign that you belong to a certain family line, or if you're more of a pagan tradition, you may be marked by the god or goddess in a certain way or follow certain traditions. So it's hard to say as far as family members with similar birthmarks. Lewis, maybe you're Achilles in a previous life. Just saying. It's possible.
Well, yeah. I mean anything's
yeah.
possible. I mean,
Well, it's on his right ankle. It's
Right.
mark of the water. I mean, if Achilles had gotten his whole ankle dunked into the river, then he wouldn't have died, and you never know.
that's probably true. Probably
yeah.
true. It's and somebody. Wow. So, yeah, it's amazing how the flow of the show just totally changed from a couple ghost stories to this kind of thing, and this is what it's supposed to be. Um, talking about dreams. Somebody in one of the chat rooms asked if anybody's had flying dreams, and I've had flying dreams all my life, and they're the most incredible dreams I've ever had. And I remember them very, very well. I
Were
don't
you
forget
high?
these. No,
Oh, just
No.
flying.
no, in my dreams.
Okay.
In dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And somebody else asked about weird locomotion during the dream, and not for me. Whenever I wanted to fly in a dream, I put my hands or my arms down to my side, and I kind of like, put my hands out like this if they're straight down, and put my hands, and I maneuver by moving my hands like wings. My hands are like wings, but they're down here like this, and I fly like straight, shot. It's crazy, but they've always been one of my favorite dreams.
Okay.
My reoccurring nightmare is being chased by a King Kong type thing through towns and cities, and he's tearing them up. And yeah, hey, what about astral traveling?
That's an entirely different thing that I don't know anything about yet.
Okay, so let's go with this though, because what were you talking about on your show last night?
Solitude?
No, the other part.
The Omancies?
Omancies. No, that's not what I was thinking of. What was your show last week? Okay, I just produced the show. I don't actually listen. I do
You're
actually.
Fired.
But I do listen because I remember, because you were talking about something and it keyed something that you talked about the other night, or
Oh, I'd have to look to see what my show was about last 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Aileron Dawn. That's funny. Yeah,
That is pretty funny.
that's funny. Thanks. That's Bigfoot in Germany. That's big, big.
So you're chased by yetis in your
No,
dreams, and you've
King Kong. Difference. Yetis are related to Sasquatches.
you just said big
I said
King
King
Kong
Kong.
esque.
Yes, King Kong being monkey.
All right.
King of the. Yeah, come on. Damn you to hell.
Sorry, not my genre. So astral projection, just to kind of explain, is it's a term. It's an esoteric term, I suppose, to describe an intentional out-of-body experience that assumes the existence of a soul or consciousness, also known as an astral body, that is separate from the physical body and capable of traveling outside and throughout the universe. So your basic out-of-body experiences. So I've had one of these. It was quite the trip.
Mm-hmm.
I was 12.
You were 12.
I was 12.
Is it after like a car accident or something?
No, I actually got to go to the emergency room because I freaked out my family really bad. I was doing chores. We had baby calves at the time, and we were feeding them. They were bottle feeding them, and I just suddenly started not feeling very good, lightheaded and woozy.
Mm-hmm.
And I said something to my dad, and the next thing I know, I am kind of like I'm looking at a TV point of view. Basically, I'm watching from above, and as my grandparents walking hand in hand down a lane,
Mm-hmm.
a country lane, with the big oak trees with maple leaves and everything, and just a sunny day with the dappled sunlight, the cicadas going. I mean, it was really
Wow.
experience. I could feel the heat and the humidity, the dust motes in the air.
Right.
I get goosebumps just talking about it. And they're just walking down the path. I knew it was them just because I could see their backs, and they're
Mm-hmm.
walking away. And it was just a warm, good feeling watching them walk down this path, and just it felt good. It felt positive. And then the next thing I know, it's like my back is against the ceiling, and I'm looking down at myself, and my dad is giving me CPR
Hmm.
and shaking me, and he's totally losing his mind. And I watched myself lose continence, which was very bizarre because I was feeling it at the same time as
Huh.
and the cold of the cement of the floor against my back. And then next thing I know, I'm looking up at my dad. My ears are ringing, and he's just got this wild look on his eyes that he's like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And so I told him, and it freaked him out. So uh,
Did he have you evaluated?
I was evaluated. I had my head examined and everything, and it was normal. So just so you know,
Yeah.
I've always been normal. And he was panicked enough that we had to go somewhere to use a phone because this was, oh gosh, like 30 some odd years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite, yeah, 30 some odd years ago. And we had to go find a phone because we didn't have one. And because we lived off the grid. And it was, we had to call my grandparents because he was totally panicking because he thought something may have happened to them, and I saw them
Oh.
across the veil.
Wow.
So, do I think I saw a vision of heaven? I don't know. I don't know. It was just very, very bizarre. It wasn't a scary feeling. It wasn't a scary experience. I felt very positive and almost refreshed after it. A little spacey because it took me a bit to reconnect with myself
Right.
then. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, something I will never, ever forget.
I've heard that too, and I've experienced like a snapback before. Like if I've been asleep and all of a sudden I just like snap out and I'm like, whatever. But it's like you have this feeling of being like jerked back into your body, and you just shock awake and you're like, ugh. But I can't remember anything before that. I just remember the
Mhm.
waking up, and I'm wondering if that's just me, you know, wandering away. Hey, I'm gonna go look at this. Oh, there's coyotes outside. Let's go listen to them. That kind of thing. So and that's I've heard that as kind of like the comeback story to an astral projection, or lucid dreaming with astral projection. Um, Robert says it's because you snore too loudly. That actually might be true. um, but but I wonder if maybe I may be like wandering around at at night, sleepwalking without the body.
You never know. I don't know. Do you
Oh.
eat?
We're going to break.
Holy
It's
cow.
going to break time. We're going to the hour break, everyone. That's how time flies in the portal. And so, as soon as this is over, we shall return for the rest, the second hour of the Paranormal Portal.
Wow, this time goes fast.
It does. Faster than your show, that's for sure.
Everybody likes to play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. But I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I am finished with my silence. I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness. Just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise. You're just another fucking mess. Taking another slice of my sanity. Just make sure that you're well fed. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet.
Yes, I know there's no sound yet. It's because we're not connected to the call board. That's the whole thing there. So just hang on a second. So right now on Truth Frequency Radio, normally on YouTube you would hear this as well, is the poltergeist, right? But it's got everything to do with that call board and why it's not working through the mix board. That's why you're not hearing anything in YouTube. But anyhow, that's over now, and so here we are back again. Nice to see everybody. Um, I wouldn't touch a Ouija board with a 30-foot pole either. And Paisley knows that the Ouija board is right over her head, so
Yep.
it's not fun.
Yep. I won't touch it. Nope.
So,
So Renee,
Yeah.
just real quick, your sister pulling you into her dreams if she's feeling stressed.
scary.
Yeah, very scary. Absolutely. But if you guys are very close, or it's very possible. Just like twins, or close siblings can often connect in a level or a way that people outside of that relationship don't get, or cannot connect with. So. Yeah, it did freak me out a little bit, but then I would know to, when I woke up, to give a call and say, "Hey, how's it going? Anything I can help with?" So, there's been a few times when I felt compelled to call someone, or send them a message or something on Facebook, and I found out later that they were just going through a really rough time, or experiencing a loss in the family, or something like that, and it's just maybe it's my intuition kicking in, or my guides just nudging me, giving me a swift kick to the butt, because sometimes I need that kind of nudge. So, that connection is really good. Yeah, right, man. Flamethrower, probably not even. I right now I'm pretending there is not one on the wall behind me. Just so you guys know, I think that they're listed as fine for children to play with is insane.
Yes.
And I think that there is no reason why people should mess with them if they don't understand the potential repercussions or how to close out the session.
We have that clip that just played during the break on YouTube. That's the one that shows at the end. It's the last one. It's the one that freaks me out the most. It shows a Ouija board and somebody's writing across, from it, and they're writing on there what's being spelled out, and it spells out Zozo, which we won't get into. If you follow Ouija boards, you know what Zozo is. But anyhow, and then the gal across the way just starts seizing up and kicking and like she's possessed, and so
Yeah, my back is crawling now.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, well,
Thanks,
you're
Don.
welcome.
Yeah.
Well, think about how many times people say stuff in chat and go, "Oh, the planchette moved." No, it didn't. Stop it.
If the planchette moved, his beard would no longer be straight.
Do you
It'd be
see-
curly and white.
Do you see these streaks? I have like 2 streaks. You see those streaks? That's yeah. Those are deserved things. But yeah. No. I personally just don't like them. Everybody knows that. Anybody who watches the show religiously knows I don't like Ouija boards. But whatever. It is what it is. Did you have anything else on like astral projection or anything like that, or?
Astral projection is a rabbit hole we could talk about probably for the next week.
Yeah, let's not do that.
So, just so you guys know, lucid dreaming and astral projection really aren't quite the same.
That's a good question. Yeah. So please.
Lucid dreaming, you're setting yourself up to experience a dream that you're awakened and aware of, but you cannot necessarily control. So astral projection, you have some control over what you're doing and what you're experiencing. So lucid dreaming is you're re-experiencing an experience. Astral projection, you're guiding the experience.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
That's my understanding. So
that explains why some people report when they're lucid dreaming the paralysis or the feeling of something on their chest pushing them down, the pressure on their chest. And we always attribute that to, well, no, we don't always attribute that to anything, but we have talked about hags holding you down,
Mhm.
not banshees. What? Oh, gosh. If Brent was here, he'd be reading my mind already. But anyhow.
there's this blockage going
Yeah,
on.
it is.
I don't know.
Serious thing.
I'm not on that wavelength. Sorry.
But, and, and somebody was telling me a story about one time that they were having this lucid dream where they felt like they were being held down and they couldn't move, and finally the only thing they could move was their pinky. And once they moved that pinky, it was like they were able to shake whatever was holding them down, and it popped them out of it. I think I know who it was, but I don't want to say who it was because if I'm wrong, I don't want to be wrong. But somebody we know is who I think it is. But it's one of those weird things. Now, Randall Electric said succubus or incubus in such case, in depending on which case it is. I could see that, but those are more. I don't know. Is
Are you
lucid
talking
dreaming?
like the Furies?
What?
Like a Fury holding you down or something like that?
Possibly, that
Okay.
might have been it. But no, but Randall mentions succubus, and I always thought. I always thought succubus were more not kind of a lucid dreaming thing. I always thought they were more of a like an energy. Well, okay, we all know what a succubus is, or an incubus. But yeah, yes, duck sauce. Thanks for the yes. You're right. A banshee. Yeah, it's a banshee. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, a banshee. Okay. For some reason, I always think of banshees as harbingers, not so much active in the act itself, but a harbinger of whatever may be coming. So I lost succubus, but so I don't think of succubus as being a lucid dream as such. Old hag syndrome, yeah. But then again, everybody knows that my number one symptom is strange Lovian. I have strange Lovian syndrome.
You're so weird. So weird.
Yeah, there might be a little feedback on there, Ken.
Yeah.
We're having a whole bunch of tiny little issues that aren't really too big of a thing. Well, that's really cool, actually. And so, gosh, well, you've been just a font of information. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well,
My goodness.
well, Germany wanted to talk about astral projection just a little bit. Yeah, and I do think some spirits can, especially if they're an older spirit, many musings, can have enough energy to hold you down, especially if they're trying to get a point across. So I don't know. With astral projection, I guess some people say that if they're doing it correctly, that they'll feel a temperature change. There may be some vibrations experiencing, and it's actually your mind's intense concentration, which makes you feel like your whole body is vibrating. You might hear buzzing, or birds chirping, or bells ringing, or something like that. Your heart rate will probably go up, and you will feel like you're moving, and occasionally you will be moving, but it's often you're more likely to experience sleep paralysis. especially as you're just about to make that jump from the physical realm to the astral realm. And so basically, as your spirit leaves and is on the astral realm, your body is kind of stuck. So you may experience visual hallucinations, or you're seeing things.
I would imagine
Yeah.
shortness of breath, palpitations.
Right. Breath changings. You may feel heavier or lighter just before you astral project, and proportion can change. So if you're feeling like the walls are closing in on you or expanding out, that may be
Like growing bigger, like expanding or growing smaller. Is that what you're? Wow.
Yep. So, and it's just different things you may be experiencing. So I think it'd be fun to do it consciously more, and instead of just that time I really really remember it when I was 12. It was, yeah, it was just a very, even now I get goosebumps whenever I think about it. I remember every aspect of that entire situation just as clear as day, like more clear than what I ate for breakfast today. It is always in my mind.
You know, I wonder. So how would you get yourself? So you can project yourself astrally. So it's something that you can control, is what you say, and to I would imagine to a point. But I read somewhere that a long time ago that the way you can induce. Now, I don't know if it was lucid dreaming or astral projecting, but a way to induce that is while you're laying in bed trying to go to sleep, and you try to resist these little things that bother you at night. You know, like if you're laying there and you're comfortable, and then all of a sudden, you get your foot sore, so you move your foot, or your hands going, might be going numb or something, so you move your hand. But I'm told that you resist these things. You just resist them. You ignore them like they're not there, and that takes you into a state of, like I said, I don't remember if it was astral projection or lucid dreaming. So clear your mind. You must. Yes,
Well,
Stacey.
for me, if I'm doing a conscious dreaming or stepping into the astral world a little bit more, I'm meditating a bit. My eyes are closed, and I'm going to my happy place to start. It's a construct in my mind that I go to, and I do different things depending on what I want to do from that point. It often involves a meadow in the mountains with a creek and trees and wind and bugs, and even now just talking about it briefly is right there smack in the back of my head. It's my place I go to do my inner cleansings and meditation, and for me it's my anchor point. I can always go back to that spot, always. So that's just my thing. So clearing my mind doesn't work. I'm a little too ADD, unfortunately. It just was. I don't know. I saw OCG's comment and just lost my brain. It just, yeah.
But you were talking about your happy place.
Yeah, my happy place. So often, even if I'm stressed out at work and I need a mini meditation, I go to that same spot. It just helps me ground and let some of that energy go.
So for you, your happy place is basically a meadow or some woodsy area that's got a nice little clearing, and the sounds of nature around you, the wind and the trees, the crickets or cicadas or whatever that is. So that's what your happy place looks like.
Yeah, very much so.
Because Bigfoot just asked to just kind of describe it. So if that's true, ketamine is not the way to go. If you want to lucid dream, do not do Special K. Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you reach over and flip that light switch? I just realized what that hum that Ken was talking about was. See? Now it's gone.
Is it gone?
Yeah, it's the fan. It's the ceiling fan.
It's the fake wind.
It hums. Yeah, unfortunate but true. But when me and Brent are in here, sometimes it just gets so.
It's because you guys are so full of hot air.
Oh.
You walked into that
Oh, no,
just with
gosh.
both feet.
So I get it whether or not Brent's here or not. I think they like get together and have a script. It's like, so if Don sets himself up, make sure to slam the door.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, the board's not going to work just because we turned the fan off.
That would be funny, kind of, and bizarre, and absolutely Paranormal Portal.
No, yes, that's true. Speaking of, we still haven't gotten anything else other than custard out of the paranormal detector there. But, you know, like I said last night, you stepping in here last night just created all kinds of a little swirl.
I am more in touch with the spirit world than you are, apparently.
Apparently so.
I don't have a problem
Like
with
I've
that.
said, I'm a skeptical believer, and that's not one I believe yet necessarily. You know, there's a lot of great information, and yeah, custard. It was the ghost box said custard earlier today, this evening.
Mhm. It was funny.
Don't know why, but you know, so I mean, it's like, you know, I might as well be from Missouri for that matter, because you know you got to show me, show me the proof. The problem is that like I've explained before, is that a lot of the things that people use as proof is a lot of the times technology, and technology has inherent problems with you know, weird things happening, like Charlie Sheen on Brent's TV, you know, just freezing, and he's like weirdly looking towards a specific door. You know, that's kind of creepy, yeah, but I don't think that's paranormal. I think it's just, you know, your computer freezes up. You know, your computer freezes up. It's not paranormal. Your TV decides to turn itself off. It's not paranormal. That's not paranormal. That's just a bad switch. It's a bad switch. Whatever. You know, also like walking by, a lot of people say, "Oh, I was walking by the street light and the light went out." Well, great. So what? You're made of energy. you have energy in your body. So the real one that sticks out there is, I can't wear watches because I drain the battery. Well, you're grounded. You're grounded. Of course you're going to drain a battery. Your body works on electrical impulses.
Now, see, my dad is one of these people that cannot be around technology. The only watch he has ever had, ever, in 60, 70 years, honest to Betsy, is one that was made of silver.
Silver?
Silver back, silver links, silver and turquoise. I gave it to him because I'm that kind of daughter. And in any other watch, he couldn't wear it for more than a day. He's not allowed to be around a computer because it turns off spontaneously when he walks by a computer.
Right.
Just spontaneously. And it used to drive my sister nuts because she'd be doing her homework or something on the computer and she'd be almost done. She hadn't hit save because she didn't learn this lesson very fast.
Yeah.
And as he walked by, the computer would shut off and she'd lose everything. And so, yeah, he really is one of those people who just has a different connection to energy.
Yeah, but
100%.
it's got nothing to do with the paranormal.
Well, it's not normal.
Well, okay. If you're going to go with the strict common, you know, paranormal is this, then yeah, of course it's paranormal, because it's just not the average everyday normal person doesn't happen to it. But I bet you it does. I bet you it does. They're so apathetic to what's going on in the world, even including to themselves, that they don't even notice. I bet you that's it. And you know, and unfortunately, I was thinking about how apathetic today at work. I'm like, God, I hate this place. And then I realized that I was being apathetic towards my workplace. You know, it was not really apathetic though. That's not really apathetic, because if I was apathetic, I'd say I just don't care. And it's actually being apathetic is even more than just not caring. There's just nothing there. You know, anything could happen. You just walk by and not even look.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but I digress. I got off on that one again.
It's not normal. Is it super normal?
Yeah, no, it's not. I think it is super normal. I think people just don't realize it. I really do. Oh, fine, Deb. Good night. We love you. Thanks for being here.
Bye, Deb. Sleep well.
Oh, OCG says I'm anti-Costco. I believe I read somewhere that Costco just found Hep A in their Kirkland brand frozen fruit. So don't go to Costco and buy frozen fruit.
You know what? I just don't like Walmart.
I said Costco.
I know. I prefer Costco over Walmart. And I wash everything anyways.
I don't want you to shop at Costco. It's going to make you sick, apparently, especially if you. But that's weird. Why would they all of a sudden just decide? And I guess they pulled like certain lots of this. So yeah, I blame OCD, OCG.
Are you CDO tonight?
Yeah, whatever. CDO. No, I'm not apathetic. Alan, I'm not apathetic. I have great care for what happens. There are situations where you're like, I just don't care. What do you want for dinner? I don't care. Give me my bottle. I'll be good. No, I don't think I'm a Freudian slip. No, and absolutely not. If you listen to me on the show, I'm not an apathetic person, because we talk about our feelings all the time on the show, and how we feel about different things. And the man wants you to shop at Costco. Gotcha. The man. The man wants you to go to Wally World, and be a Walmartian too. But anyhow, but we talk about our feelings all the time on the portal.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's important, because, if I feel that if we're not honest with our audience, our YouTube people, our podcast people, our TFR people, that's what this is all about. It's about being honest,
Mm-hmm.
and sharing who you are, because nobody's going to buy the show if they can't buy the hosts and the co-host. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, but it doesn't do us any good to be fake. We're not fake. We're just
Okay.
not fake.
That's good.
And you know that, Paisley. We've been, we've barbecued before, and all that
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of stuff. And and Black Tree knows that now. She's finally come out and barbecued with us. So
Yeah, it's kind of fun when we all get together anymore. We talk about so many different things.
Yeah,
Oh
and it
my
goes
gosh.
so quick.
And we just had a get together for Minnie Paisley for her birthday, and we had I don't know, 20, 30 people, and 5 little hooligans and all the parents. And Sam's is Walmart, just so you know. It's fun to get all those adults around, and we get all these different viewpoints going,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
especially if we've had a little bit to drink, we're totally ready to converse and open our minds a little bit and communicate. And it's very real, and it's organic. Just kind of like the show tonight has been kind of organic. We started off with ghosts and astral protection. Now we're talking about feelings.
Don't start singing. That's my
Hey,
job,
I wasn't
and I'm not
serious.
allowed to do it anymore.
It was just a word in...
Feelings, nothing more than feelings.
Are you an orange? Oh,
Oh,
you're an
my.
onion.
Oh, yes, the many layers of dawn. Some will make you cry.
So, it's one thing I really like about the show, actually, and why I tune in as often as I can, is because everybody's really open and talking and just really communicating about what they're experiencing, and they're
Mhm.
open to learning and open to the experience,
Mhm.
and they're not closing their mind. Now, different people do have different viewpoints. Not all of them coincide. Often they are at loggerheads with one another. But you know what? It's good though. It's a good conversation,
Mhm.
and it's great. So, yes, he's an ogre with a beard. Duck sauce, absolutely.
And actually, you don't have to have a Costco membership to get into Costco. You can actually go in and ask them for a day pass.
Mhm.
So just FYI, you don't have to buy their membership. So, why do I know this? Because I like Costco. I shop at Costco sometimes. I just don't. It's 50 miles away, and I just don't feel like going anymore. So anyhow, we're about to go to our very last break.
Wow.
And for some reason, onions came up, and I blame her. Who? Paisley's
Muff-
married to the Muffin Man. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, going to break, last half hour. It's been a certain treat and a
It's going
special kind of treat.
fast. Holy cow.
It goes fast, yeah. All right, we'll be back in just a few short. Well,
And if it's quiet on YouTube, we're sorry.
we'll be there.
Because Don broke the board.
Gotta go.
Hello.
And we're back. Yes, no sound. Yes, I've explained this. You know,
Brent will be back shortly, like within 36 hours, and he'll fix it.
thanks. Thanks for the vote of confidence over there.
Hey, it's not my fault you pushed the button.
You're only there to keep the seat warm. That's all you're doing.
Is that what this is? Someone was already talking about the yellow snow cones. Is that what this is? I don't know.
I don't. We'll just skip that part. So last half hour of the show, here I am with Miss Paisley Wilde from the Spaces Between. She is also a TFR host,
Yep.
and awesome to have her with us.
Yeah, I'm on Friday nights at 11 p.m. Pacific time. So if you are a true night owl or working the graveyard shift, by all means, listen. You can also get me on the archives on TFR. And if my producer wants to not be fired, I should have more videos on YouTube shortly.
And probably some more podcasts as well.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh,
They
don't
work
forget
together.
to mention your
Yeah.
podcast.
Yep, do have the podcast. So if you listen to podcasts at all out in the world on your drives, because I know a lot of you do drive a lot, yeah, anywhere you get your podcasts. So, or Spotify. If you go with Spotify, I'm there too. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
And Etsy store, I'll put the link in again.
Can you drop the link on YouTube?
You mean like that?
I don't see it yet. I don't see it yet.
It's right there. It's not flagged. It's on YouTube. Refresh your screen. It
Oh.
is.
It's not here.
I don't know what to tell
It's
you.
not here. No, Brent, no problems. We're fine. They are commenting that they can't hear anything when we come back from the break, but that's because TFR is not playing through to YouTube, so they didn't hear the bumper music coming back in, or they probably didn't hear the bumper music going back out, and also they didn't hear the poltergeist. So, and even many in YouTube said, "Oh, that's what's missing is Tangina." Yes, that's the problem. So when we came back and I was bobbing my head, it's because I was listening to the music, the bumper music on TFR. So there you go. Anyhow,
Yes, Suzanne, I am on iHeartRadio also, just like Paranormal Portal is. So, yep. Yeah, Truth Frequency Radio it has a whole channel on iHeartRadio, which is pretty cool. Chris is awesome that way.
yeah, but unfortunately that streams live. So
Yes.
whatever's live on TFR is what's streaming on iHeartRadio. So that's cool. So, we had a chatter that says, how does encouraging BS show that the show is about honesty? Now, we've talked about things like this before. If you believe that the show is BS, then why are you even listening? It's like, as a matter of fact, Brent kind of ranted about it last week.
Was it just last week?
Yeah, I think it was just last week.
I know
was
he's
laughing
done it
my
once or
butt
twice.
off. But the thing is, though, is if you don't believe, if you don't agree with the points of view that are being talked about,
Expressed.
there is nobody keeping you here but your own fingers on the mouse button and clicking away. Now, I would kind of wonder what exactly they mean by BS. What is the BS that they're talking about? Do they not believe that there are spirits? Do they not believe that do they not believe that reincarnation? Do they not believe that whatever we talk about such an array of things. We talk about aliens and ghosts and Bigfoot. And so our show isn't necessarily about things that we have to believe in. I don't believe in absolutely everything that we talk about. So I don't get it. I'm here as a skeptical believer. If you can show me the real evidence, the real proof, I will. Or you give me enough. But if you're here just to troll,
Okay.
go troll somewhere else. Honestly.
So here's the thing, though. Just maybe it's because I'm a Libra.
Okay.
Just so you know. I am a firm believer in paganism. I'm an eclectic pagan. I do believe the gods walk among us. They do talk to us, absolutely. we don't listen as well as we used to, partly because of technology
And the noise.
and noise, the noise pollution, and the mind pollution, absolutely. But just because I feel something is real doesn't necessarily mean the next person down the road believes the same thing. That's why I'm an eclectic pagan. I actually believe a variety of different things and am fully embracing them. But that doesn't mean that I think one of these days the reality of the paranormal world is going to walk along and yank your beard hairs out, and you will be a firm believer and you'll no longer be a skeptic. I'm just saying, it's going to happen.
Why does everybody want to pick on my beard?
It's marinated. I don't know.
It's sexy, you know it. You know
It's
sexy.
marinated. Anyway, so
One fine banana.
I thought you were an onion here not too long ago. They don't mix well, bananas and onions.
Bananas have peels.
Do they have feelings?
Of course they do.
Are they in pajamas?
Bananas in pajamas. I will just skip that one.
It's a cartoon. Anyway, so yeah, just because, I personally think Christians, for the most part, are BS. So, I mean, they say it's a deity, but it's not, it's four. Did you know that? Christianity has four deities. It's not one God. They have a triune God? Sure, I have a triune goddess. So, it's...
Interesting. That was an interesting correlation right there.
I just, I think the BS line or the BS meter is going to be different for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, we choose what we believe to some extent. We choose the information we put into ourselves, whether it's TV, media, written, internet, the music we listen to. All of those things that we take in impact how we believe and what we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's why so many people feel that a lot of the angry music,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying metal because I don't think metal's angry, I think is real. Some of the other crap that's out there right now is negatively impacting our society and dumbing it down, I think, even through music. If you listen to any of the music that's pop music nowadays, it's very repetitive, and what kind of message is that really sending versus some of the metal, for instance, the screamo type music? There's a real message there. So,
There can be a message
yeah,
there.
absolutely. According to my favorite orc, it's some of the best love songs ever written. But, and it's what we take in is what we become. So, for those that listen to my show, I talk about intention all the time, because what you intend, you have to set your intention before you do a casting or a ritual or spell work of any kind, because what you intend to do is what's going to happen. And you need to do the same thing with what you put into your mind. So if you intend to grow emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically for the short people, all of that, you need to be conscious of what you're putting into yourself. So just like you need to eat healthy to be healthy, you need to listen to or read the appropriate things to have a healthy mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're watching a lot of mainstream media type news, you're going to get a lot of negativity. That's all you're going to see in the world. If you cut that out of your life, you're going to stop. I'm not going to say it happens less,
Mm-hmm.
but down the road, if more people stopped embracing the negativity they see on TV, then there will be less negativity in the world, because it will no longer be emphasized, because that's honestly what sells right now.
Right.
It drives ratings. People want to see the bloody, the gory. Period.
That's true.
They wanted the sensationalized insanity and inanity that we see on TV. Our politicians are blowing things just way out of proportion. So, I think it's really what we're looking at is feeding who we are today as a people.
Right.
So
Right.
I am a news junkie. I've always been a news junkie. I've turned off the news. And that was really painful. Because I love knowing what's going on in the world. I love knowing how I'm connected to the world. And I've had to really bring it in and focus it more locally and in my immediate group instead of in the world as a whole, because there's not enough joy out there anymore. It's not important for anybody to report on
it's
it.
that apathy.
Mhm.
It's that apathy that I was talking about earlier.
Mhm.
You know, people just don't. They don't care enough to even be to have anything other than apathy. So yeah.
So if you're in the grocery store, I noticed a couple of people are out grocery shopping. If you see someone drop something out of their cart, how often do people pick it up to hand it back to the person? How often do they ignore it? And how often do they pick it up and put it in their own pocket? And those seem to be the three things that really happen. And I just don't get it. You know, there's nothing wrong with going out of your way to do something nice for someone. I firmly believe that what you put out there is what you're going to receive. And I don't mean necessarily karmic, but if you're putting that positive energy out there, it becomes what you're looking for and what you're experiencing then. So it's not that the universe or the world owes you stuff, because it doesn't. It's more the energy that you're putting out is also becomes the energy that you receive. So you know, it's frustrating to see people who just embrace all that negativity all the time. That's all they're going to get. That's all they're going to see. The anger, the vitriol. I don't even want to talk about American politics these days.
Well,
oh my gosh.
We don't talk about those things here.
For good reason, because they're
Yeah.
talk about insane.
Well, you know, and you know, also because of our listener, you know, our you know, we try to keep it neutral.
Okay,
You
I
know,
think
so-
they're all crazy.
Well, yeah, they have to be a little paranormal.
Paranoid? Is that what you said?
No, paranormal.
Oh, paranormal.
Goodness.
So I don't know.
Well, and then another part of that chat is skepticism is not trolling. You're absolutely correct. Skepticism is not trolling. It's the way you put your words. It's the way you express yourself. It's the way you say the things. When you come out about BS, the first thing out of your mouth is, don't talk about honesty because this is BS. Then that's not skepticism. That's just trolling. That's trolling. Somebody else said, why is trolling always a bad thing? Trolling is not always a bad thing, because trolling can teach us things. You know, it's like, okay, well, they weren't receptive to this or that, and let's consider that in what we do going forward. Absolutely. You know, so trolling is not necessarily bad, but it's how you go about doing it. It's how you go about, you know, calling people out. You know, there's a way to tick somebody off, and then there's a way to engage them in a conversation. You know, and like I said, if you don't believe or don't choose to believe that there's a Bigfoot out there, or you choose to not believe it, you choose to or to not believe in anything that we talk about, that's okay. That is okay. But don't come at us sideways and say your show's BS. You're talking about honesty. I talked about the honesty of our feelings and the honesty of what we talk about. You know, if you believe it, great. I don't, like I said, I don't believe everything that we hear on the show. There's a lot of things that I just don't get on board with, and that's okay. I'm here to listen and to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, don't come at somebody sideways and say your show's BS because you're not being honest. We're being honest. We're being honest about how we feel about it. We're being honest about how we see things. And, you know, honestly, like I said,
Okay.
you know,
All
anyhow.
right, so we've
Let's
been
get
on a
off that. We
soapbox
got
for
10
like
minutes.
15 minutes. Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Okay, move. You got something? You wanted to talk about God's walking among us.
Yeah. Well, you said move, so I moved.
Oh my God.
I didn't
She is only
see.
here to keep that seat warm until Brent gets back.
Yeah, you know, I had originally thought that maybe, because, yeah, I show up, I sit down 5 minutes before the show starts, and Don says, so what are we talking about tonight? And that's where the whole plucky sidekick came up.
You know
'cause
where I
come on.
got that from? Brent. Brent's always asking me. He's looking over. What are we talking about tonight? I don't know.
Well, see, I had no idea what we were talking about last night, and suddenly we're talking about
Whatever we talked about last night.
aliens.
Aliens, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, do gods walk among us? I know a lot of shows right now, or there's a couple different shows that are really big. American Gods is kind of a big deal.
Omens.
Omens.
Mm-hmm.
I want to watch Omens.
Okay.
I think
Cool.
it'll be awesome. I just can't do it with the little Paisley. So, it was. I think they do. I said I think last night that I think time is cyclical. Time's kind of a wheel. What has been will come again. Absolutely. And I think the time of the hero time when the gods were really among us, and we were really listening to them more. Maybe they're louder. They took a more direct hand in our day-to-day lives. I think that's going to become again. I think we're moving towards that more. And I think maybe that's why I think that someone's going to grab you by your beard hairs and say, yes, the paranormal's real, man.
You gotta believe.
So, yeah. I think we're in for some interesting years here in the next 5 to 10. Absolutely. I think
5 to 10 years?
Yep.
You think 5 to 10 years, huh?
Yes, I do.
Return of the Gods in 5 to 10 years.
Noticeable.
Noticeable. Oh, noticeable. Okay.
Yeah, noticeable. And I think it's partly because paganism is on a rise. People are acknowledging the old gods again. I was reading an article the other day. There's more pagans in America now than there are Baptists.
Really?
Yeah. Or maybe it's Presbyterians. I don't know, one of those two. Which I thought was interesting.
Puritans by any chance?
Quakers. So, actually, funny thing, Sandpoint has a Quaker church. There's a Church of the Friends here in town.
Yeah.
But do we have a pagan temple? No. So, I
Well,
don't know.
that's what Starbucks on Sundays is for.
Yep, pretty much. Paul Brent has a pre-record happening tomorrow night, and
Yes.
he will be on
Back on Monday.
back on Monday doing live stuff. So,
Yep. Because we have another podcast dropping on Monday. So. Yep.
yeah, Good Omens looks really good. So, yeah, I think the gods are among us, and I think
So real quick,
Mhm.
why would the gods be among us and then disappear, and why would they return by popular demand?
we are a science experiment.
Are you saying we're alien seeded?
Yeah, absolutely. And why cannot the gods be aliens?
This was now I have this friend, and he's a good guy. I love him. He's a great guy. I haven't talked to him in a while, but we've had conversations, and he's very Christian, which is really cool. Okay, great. That's what you do. And I confronted him one night. We were talking, and I said, so why don't you believe in aliens? He's like, well, they're not in the Bible. I'm like, but what if they are? What if the angels are actually the aliens sent by God to put us here and to guide us, or in some ways, guide us astray? And he's like, I never thought of that. Well, think about it though.
Well, to any culture or society that hasn't experienced technology, technology is magic. So how do we not know that what we perceive as magic today is
You were talking about that on your show last night.
Yep, is not actually magic from the future or technology from the future. So, yeah, I think it's very, very possible that yes, we're seated.
So why would the gods be among us? So they came, they seeded us here, or they did the genetic experiment, whatever that is, and then disappeared. So this is like the incubation period. Is that what?
So if Earth is a petri dish, anybody who's done any
putrid
kind
dish.
petri dish,
Putrid dish.
whatever, why would they have just one? Anybody who's ever done a science experiment, do you just do one sample, one test?
Well, now we talked about that on the show last night
So-
about wiping out the dinosaurs.
Yep.
Yeah.
So why would Earth be the only one? There's millions and millions and millions and millions of stars in the sky.
So who's the control subjects?
The Scientologists. I don't know.
Oh God. So okay, so let's.
Sorry, I will poke fun at all the religions, including my own.
And why would they return by popular demand? So why do you think that we calling out to them is enough to bring them back?
What if they're already on their way back and we're just seeing or contacting more with a collective unconscious, and so we're hearing their signals more?
So
So it's not necessarily we are causing them to come back. What if they were already on their way back and we're just hearing the signals more?
interesting.
And which is the chicken, which is the egg?
True. But what if we talked about DUMBs last night, deep underground military bases, and the Phil Schneider, some of the Phil Schneider story. We only briefly touched on it. It was kind of cool. But anyhow, what if they've always been here? They've just been watching and alien abductions and things like that. Do you think that that's part of it too? Because we've all often postulated, what if we're just a big science experiment and they're here to find something that they lost, like the last Mimsy.
Mm-hmm. I actually haven't seen that one.
Really? The
Yeah.
last Mimsy?
Nope.
Oh, gracious. Well, I don't want to spoil it because it's a good movie.
Okay.
So anyhow,
So, anyways, yes, I think they could very easily be among us. So here's this to rattle your cage. What if ghosts are the ones that are actually watching us in the grand experiment? What if they're the folks in the lab coats?
because they're coming to take me away.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Funny farm?
Yes, absolutely. So interesting. So we've got 4.5 minutes left. Our friend Dex Sauce says that we did a fantastic job sitting in for
Well,
Mr.
you know,
Branson.
somebody said we needed to say something about ghosts.
I did.
No, somebody else did.
I read-
I had a ghost story.
Oh.
I actually did have
See,
a
that's-
ghost story.
That's Brent's thing. Is he finds them and then he loses them just that
Yeah,
quick.
I know. Oh, I know what it is. I moved this out of the way. No.
Okay. Well.
So one, real quick.
Okay.
Really quick. A few years, and for all I know, you guys have already read this one. So a few years ago, my brother would get a call on his cell phone around 2 to 3 a.m.
Oh,
every night.
We love these stories.
He would answer, and it was this hellish sounding noise, like static mixed with screams. He changed his cell phone number after a month, and all of this stopped. Then after a week or so, it began again. The exact same noise at the exact same time. Finally, one day, he decided to back dial the call. It was an old man that had no clue what he was talking about. Still, the calls persisted. If he didn't answer, he would call a few more times. No messages were ever left. He decided to say screw it and ended his contract with the phone company, switched to a new one, and got a new number. And you guessed it, the screaming static calls continued after a short delay. By this time, he was terrified every night, unsure why this was happening. He backed dialed the number again and got a different person. Around this time, he lost his job and his phone, and the calls stopped, of course, and his phone was disconnected. One day, my mom asked me to listen to this weird message she got on our home phone. It was the static screaming. We showed my brother, and he was freaking out. He backed dialed the number again, and it said the number was disconnected this time. Never heard from it again after that.
Wow. We've talked about phone calls from the dead before, and but static screaming. That's all I heard was static and screaming.
Wouldn't that kind of freak you out every night at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, that would be creepy. What would have been worse is if it happened at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, it said 2 to 3, so.
Oh, so any time between 2 and 3. See, I get caught doing this all the time. I only hear half the story.
Are you deaf in one ear?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I am, but that's not actually an excuse when you have noise reducing.
You have
headsets on.
headphones. It's going directly into both ears.
Shh. Don't tell my secrets. Because when I look at Brent and go, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. It goes right over his head.
The secret is out. Dawn's faking it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly, Jessica. What if Earth was quarantined because we're just a bunch of jerks?
That wouldn't surprise me, the virus in the Petri dish, I mean, and there have been postulations that the reason we don't have more interaction with higher advanced civilizations and things like that is because let's say, we've gone through, life has risen like 5 or 6 times through the course of the earth. And why does it keep getting wiped out? Something's going wrong, so.
Yeah, I think we're a grand experiment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I could-
But
I
I
could
still
believe
am
that,
a 100% pagan.
I'm sorry, Jess, what was that? She says selective hearing, Dawn.
Oh.
All right. So 1 minute, quick, pitch your stuff.
So, I am Paisley Wilde. My show is The Spaces Between. My show is live on TFR every Friday night at 11 p.m. Pacific Time. I do have a YouTube channel, The Spaces Between, podcast, The Spaces Between with Paisley Wilde. And it's The Spaces Between, there's no in. And then I have an Etsy store. It's, yeah, Etsy.com or whatever. And then Monarch, MONARCH, MTN for Mountain Studio, STUDIO.
Wow.
And
The spaces between my
the
ears.
spaces between. Yep. Just like it shows in chat on YouTube, folks.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, it's a fun show. Basically, my show is my journey as a pagan and the things I'm studying as I go.
Okay, we're gonna go die. We love you. Stay tuned for Tarot Mood next on TFR, and those of you on YouTube, love you.
Yeah, love y'all. A merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again, you guys. We'll
Good
see you next time.
night.